Hey y'all, welcome to the Nicola J YouTube channel. My name is Alviana, creator and owner of Nicola J, and I've received quite a few compliments on my labels, so I decided to make a video all about labels. In this video, we'll be talking about how I design my labels, where I get my labels from, and how I apply my labels. So if you're interested, keep watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the Nicola J YouTube channel, check out Nicola J on social media, and share this video with someone who might need it. Without further ado, let's get into it. First step is actually coming up with the label design. When you're designing your candle label, make sure that you have the important requirements on your actual label. These requirements include language stating that the candle is a candle, whether it is a soy wax candle, a wooden wick candle, whatever type of candle, you just need to state that it is a candle on the product clearly. Another thing that should be included in your label is the amount of product that is in the candle. So for example, I use 11 ounces of wax, so this is an 11-ounce candle. So the label should also include the business name, not only for branding, just so that the people know where the product is from. Also, it's not on here at the bottom, but it should be on this one. Yeah, it is on this one. This is like the best spell I'm gonna get. But at the bottom of my label, I have the city, state, and zip code of where my business is located. So that is also something important to put on your label. Then there is the fire safety label that is typically at the bottom of a candle. It's required by the National Candle Association, since you light the candle on fire, it is technically a fire hazard. So on the label, you have to include the following warnings. There's also cute little pictograms that are on the National Candle Association website, which I will link in the description so you can include them in your labels. I just downloaded them and went into Canva, which we'll be talking about later, to put on the label. So the first warning that you have to include is to burn within sight, which, of course means making sure that you're not walking away from the candle when you burn it. Make sure it's like in your vicinity. The second one is keep your product away from flammables. So, of course, curtains, scarves, anything that might light fire. You need to let your customer know that they should keep the candle, the product, away from that. The last one, pretty self-explanatory. Keep the product, the candle, the fire hazard away from pets and children. So now that we have the requirements out of the way, now we get to the fun part, which is designing the actual look of the label. If you don't have the look of your candle already decided in your mind, I would definitely go to Google, look up some candle labels just to get some inspiration. I don't think that you should steal, because that's not good. That's unethical. That's also potentially illegal depending on if people got their stuff trademarked, whatever. Don't steal, but you can also just look and see how people design their labels and kind of grab it. I'm more so talking about text placement, maybe spacing, things like that. Designing the actual label is the part where you can get really creative. So some things I think you should consider is how you want the label to look. Do you want it to be like a square? There's a lot of people who do circular labels, oval, rectangular, stars, maybe one that looks like a heart, just depending on what your vibe is, what your brand is. Then another thing I would consider is fonts. Do you want to use a more bold one, a modern? There's ones that look like Hollywood lights. There's you can use a lot of fonts. You can see if you want to pick something that looks more recognizable, or do your own thing. There's a website called Fonts or something like that, where it's just a bunch of fonts that you can download. I think an important thing to consider is making sure that your label is visible. Most people can read it. You don't want it to be too hard to read, because then they're gonna have no idea what the brand is and what the scent is, and they're gonna be confused. It's better to have some sort of readability. Don't make the font too hard to read. That is all I can think of when it comes to things to consider for the label. If you have any other tips that you thought of that I didn't think of, make sure to leave them in the comments. I love to read the comments, and I love that we're all helping each other out as business owners. Now that we actually have the design of the label decided, now we need to create it. I personally use Canva to design my candle labels. As I mentioned in my favorite business tools video, I use Canva for anything visual. For my 11-ounce labels, I usually use the 5x5 template. For the 10s, I ended up using the 2x1 template. For the minis, I use the logo template. I'm not sure why, but we do whatever works. I would say that the sizes are arbitrary as long as you got the general shape down, because I end up resizing them anyway when I go into Vistaprint or Avery, which I'll be talking about later, just so they fit the same size when I actually go to, order the labels so they can get here. When I first created my labels, I started from scratch. I was scrolling through all the fonts trying to see what, text I wanted to use. I also created the spacing and all that stuff, but there are many templates that Canva has to offer, so that you can kind of have a general baseline for how you want your labels to look. So I'm gonna screen record and I'm gonna show a little bit of like what Canva has to offer. Yeah, I'll just show you kind of some of the templates that they have, and you can customize it however you want, change the colors, all that jazz, just so you have a good baseline. Once I've created my first few labels, I use those labels as a baseline for every other label that I make, just so that the brand feels more cohesive. Same fonts, just maybe different colors, and it makes them all look cute, so cute side by side. So once the actual label is designed and finished, now we just have to get it physically. I started off in the beginning of my business just exclusively printing labels from my printer. I have a Canon Pixma MG2922. Got it from my mom. It's pretty old, but it does the job. In the beginning, I would order sticker paper and clear sticker paper from Amazon. I would go to Google Docs. I would download the design from Canva, upload it to Google Docs, save it as a PDF on my phone, connect my phone to the printer, go to the print app on Canon, and then I would print off the design like the PDF from there. And then I would have this, and then from there I would use my little paper cutter. I got this from Walmart, just like putting it here, and then you push this thing down and you go through, and then it'll cut the paper. And then from there I would grab some scissors and then just make little, I would like smooth out the edges with my scissors, and then if I needed to, like if it's like a circular sticker, then I would just cut out the circle by hand. So it is a bit of a long process, but it gets the job done, especially a lot cheaper than ordering like the labels from another like professional service. I do recommend doing it that way, especially in the beginning, just because it is a lot cheaper, but also I was not a fan of like the clear labels. They would like smear very quickly. Sometimes these do smear, but not nearly as much as like the clear ones, and I really liked how the clear ones looked on my core collection. That was like my concept from the beginning, so I really wanted to make it work. As I've grown, I have gone to Vistaprint now for the clear labels. They're a lot higher quality. Before, when I used to like rub my finger on the label too much, it would come off on my hands, but with these that doesn't happen. They're a lot thicker and higher quality than the ones I was using previously, so I am a fan of them, and they also do stick very well, to the point like you only get like 1 or 2 tries with these. If you put them on wrong, you might just like lose it out on a product because they stick very well. Right now, you can get 12 of these, and this is a 3x4 label, like the clear plastic, whatever they call it on there. And you can get 12 of these for $31. These labels, this, Daydream, if you've seen Daydream, what else? The fall collection labels, they use matte paper, so they're not the same clear ones. And you can get 12 of these labels for $27. I mentioned in my last video that I did my first vendor event at DreamCon. So I did release a new product for DreamCon. Tins. For my tins, I did order the labels from Vistaprint, but they arrived way too tiny. I had a vision for how I wanted the tins to look, and I was like, this is like way too tiny. So I ended up looking elsewhere for labels because Vistaprint doesn't offer too many like variety of sizes. They had the right length, but the like width was gonna be too short, and I wanted both my width and my length. So I ended up going to Avery.com. They had a bunch of like different sizes that I could choose from. So I was able to pick out the perfect size for what I wanted, and it was actually a bit cheaper. Whether you just printed out your label, it's fresh off the printer, or you just got your labels in the mail, you now have a beautiful label, and now you just gotta apply it. The way I put on labels, I start in the middle. It's gonna be hard because I'm also a perfectionist when it comes to this thing. When it comes to everything, honestly, but this specifically, I line it up so it looks right, and then I start in the middle. This is so hard to do like this way. So I'll go like this, make sure the middle is nice and flat, and then I'll make sure to go out to each side. I apply a lot of pressure when I do this, just so it's on flat. I hate air bubbles with a passion, so I really try to make sure that there aren't any air bubbles when I label, and then bam, you got a label. Of course, I'm not a robot, so when I do labels, sometimes there are air bubbles and little imperfections, but you kind of just go with the flow and try your best to avoid them, from my experience. But if you have any other alternative ways of labeling, let me know. I would love to hear them. But other than that, you have a beautifully labeled product. So that's all I have to say about labeling. Thank you so much for watching. If this video helped you out at all, don't forget to like it, subscribe to the YouTube channel, because I do talk all things candle making, all things owning a business, running a business, mindset, all that jazz. I love talking about it all. So if you have any video suggestions, let me know too in the comments. Share the video. And also, if you're interested, I do make candles and wax melts. You can check out the website. All links will be in the description. One more thing before I go, I did want to mention, I did showcase the tins a lot. Those were for DreamCon, like I mentioned, and I'm working on making more tins and putting them on the website. So they'll be on the website in the next coming weeks. Until then, I have the big candles. I do have the mini bundle, but there's going to be some changes to the website coming in a few weeks. Just bear with me on that. And thank you guys always for the support. The growth has been kind of crazy to me, so I really appreciate you guys. But other than that, that is it. Have a great day, and I'll see you next week. Bye!